Give it up for Maxie Jones, everybody. Let's hear it.
Several years ago, I decided to go visit some cousins of mine who live in San Jose, California. I had never met them before, and so I spoke to them on the phone and just decided to take a trip and visit. Now, at the time, I was still living in New York City. And so when it was time for me to go to the airport, my nephew decided he wanted to take me to the airport. So when he came to pick me up, he picked me up like 4 hours early. So I was like, dude, what are you doing here so early? He was like, Uncle Maxie, I just wanted to make sure you don't miss your flight. Okay, let's go. He took me to Kennedy Airport, and I just said, okay, I'm just gonna sit here and read a book until my flight leaves. He got me there at like 1 o'clock p.m. for a flight that left at 4:30. Let me backtrack a little bit. When I called my cousin to tell her that I was coming, and she said, well, all right, book your flight and let me know what time you're gonna be picked up. I booked a flight on, I don't even remember what website, but it was a travel website, and I took the cheapest flight, and it had me landing at 11:30 p.m. So when I called my cousin and said I was landing at 11:30 p.m., she was like, what the fuck do you mean 11:30 p.m.? I'm not picking you up from no airport at 11:30 p.m. I was like, but you know, this is the cheapest flight I was able to get. She said, I'm not picking you up at no goddamn 11:30 p.m. She said, you better do something else. I said, but it's already booked and paid for and everything. She said, I don't give a shit. She said, you better work some kind of magic and get a different kind of flight and arrive at a different time. I was like, well, we'll see what I can do. I knew I wasn't gonna do anything because that flight was already paid for. So I figured I'll just land in San Jose and take a taxi or something. So my nephew gets me to the airport so early, and I'm sitting at the gate, and while I'm sitting at the gate, I noticed that they're loading a flight to Los Angeles. See, my flight was to Los Angeles, and I would have to change in Los Angeles and catch a smaller flight to San Jose. So they're loading a flight to Los Angeles. So I took the chance, and I go up to the lady, and I said, excuse me, this flight's to Los Angeles? She said, yeah. I said, well, I got a flight to Los Angeles, but it doesn't leave for another 3 hours. She's like, well, why don't you just get on this one? It's empty. I was like, okay. And she said, but wait a minute. We got to make sure that your baggage gets on with you because you can't leave and leave your baggage in the terminal. So she calls down to baggage claim. They were able to find my baggage and load it on. She said, come on, let's go. I said, all right, cool. So I figured what I would do is I would sit in the airport in Los Angeles for an extra 3 hours, which was kind of cool because I'd never been to LA. I know, it's just a fucking airport. So I get to Los Angeles 3 hours early, and what I do is I know I'm 3 hours early, so I'm gonna go hang out at the bar. But first, I gotta go identify where is my gate. So I go to the gate, and I'm noticing they're loading a flight to San Jose. So I walk up to the lady and I go, hey, I got a flight going to San Jose, but it doesn't leave for another 3 hours. And she says, why don't you get on this one? It's empty. So I said, okay, but hey, what about my luggage? She said, if you get to San Jose and your luggage isn't there, you just wait. It'll get there. So I said, all right, I'm not gonna call my cousin and tell her because my luggage might not be there and I might have to sit at that airport anyway. So I got on that flight, I got to San Jose, it lands, and I was like, let me just go see. And I go to the baggage claim, and there it is. My luggage. I was like, this shit is awesome. But I also thought that would have been fucked up, that my luggage would have got here 3 hours ahead of me. if I caught my regular flight. So I get my luggage. I call my cousin. I go, Jill, this is Maxie. Hey, cuz, where are you? What you doing? She says, don't worry. You know what? I'm going to come. I'm going to be there at 11:30. I'll pick you up, all right? I was like, Jill, chill out. Just come to the airport and get me. She said, what airport? San Jose. I'll be right there. And she comes, and she got a car full of groceries because she was grocery shopping. She has her daughter in the car who she was going to take to the babysitter. And she comes to the airport, and she jumps out, and she goes, what happened? And I started to tell her about the flights and the luck, and I was like, nah. I said, it was magic. Thank you.